Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Sakshur Militan Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvise Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Reading from Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta by Śrīla Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja Gosvāmī Maharaj. And we are at the chapter 11, Madhya-līlā, the Beḍā-kīrtana Pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu. And translation from and purport from Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swāmī Prabhupada. The Beḍā-kīrtana Pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarizes the 11th chapter in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tried his best to arrange a meeting between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and King Prataparudra, the Lord flatly denied his request. At this time, Sri Ramananda Roy returned from his governmental post, and he praised King Prataparudra highly in Lord Chaitanya's presence. Because of this, the Lord became a little soft. The king also made promises to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who hinted how the king might meet the Lord. During Anavarsya, while Lord Jagannath was resting for 15 days, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being unable to see Lord Jagannath, went to Alalanath. Later, when the devotees from Bengal came to see him, he returned to Jagannath Puri. While Advaita Acharya and the other devotees were coming to Jagannath Puri, Swarup Damodar and Govinda, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's two personal assistants, went to receive the devotees with garlands from the roof of his palace. King Prataparudra could see all the devotees arriving. Gopinath Acharya stood on the roof with the king, and following Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's instructions, identified each and every devotee. The king discussed the devotees with Gopinath Acharya, and he mentioned that the devotees were accepting prasadam without observing the regulative principles governing pilgrimages. They accepted prasadam without having shaved, and they neglected to fast in a holy place. Nonetheless, the king arranged residential quarters for all the devotees and saw to their prasadam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu talked very happily with Vasudev Datta and other devotees. Haridas Thakur also came, and due to his humble and submissive attitude, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him a nice solitary place near the temple. After this, the Lord began performing Sankirtan, dividing all the devotees into 4 divisions. After Sankirtan, all the devotees left for their residential quarters. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu merged the entire world into the ocean of ecstatic love by performing his beautiful dances within the temple of Jagannath. He danced exquisitely and jumped high. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Sri Advaita Prabhu, and all glories to the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The next day, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya requested Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give him permission to submit a statement without fear. The Lord gave the Bhattacharya assurance that he could speak without fear, but added that if his statement were suitable, he would accept it, and if it were not, he would reject it. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "There is a king named Prataparudra Roy. He is very anxious to meet you and he wants your permission." As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard his proposal, he immediately covered his ears with his hands and said, "My dear Sarvabhauma, why are you requesting such an undesirable thing from me? Since I am in the renounced order, it is as dangerous for me to meet a king as to meet a woman. They are both just like drinking poison." Greatly lamenting, the Lord then informed Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, "Alas, for a person who is seriously desiring to cross the material ocean and engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, without material motives, seeing a materialist engaged in sense gratification and seeing a woman who is similarly interested, is more abominable than drinking poison willingly." Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya replied, "My dear Lord, what you have said is correct, but this king is not an ordinary king. He is a great devotee and servant of Lord Jagannath." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Although it is correct that the king is a great devotee, he is still to be considered a venomous snake. Similarly, even though a woman be made of wood, one becomes agitated simply by touching her form. Just as one is immediately frightened upon seeing a live serpent, or even the form of a serpent, one endeavoring for self-realization should similarly fear a materialistic person and a woman. Indeed, he should not even glance at their bodily features." "Bhattacharya, if you continue to speak like this, you will never see me here again. Therefore, you should never let such a request come from your mouth." Being afraid, Sarvabhauma returned home and began to meditate on the matter. At this time, Maharaj Prataparudra arrived at Jagannath Puri, Purushottama, and accompanied by his secretaries, ministers, and military officers, went to visit the temple of Lord Jagannath. When King Prataparudra returned to Jagannath Puri, Ramananda Roy also came with him. Ramananda Roy immediately went to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great pleasure. Upon meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Ramananda Roy offered his obeisances. The Lord embraced him, and both of them began to cry in great ecstasy of love. Seeing Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intimate dealings with Sri Ramananda Roy, all the devotees there were astonished. Ramananda Roy said, "I duly informed King Prataparudra of your order for me to retire from service. By your grace, the king was pleased to relieve me of these material activities. I said, 'Your Majesty, I am now not willing to engage in political activities. I desire only to stay at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kindly give me permission.' When I submitted this proposal, the king immediately upon hearing your name was very pleased. Indeed, he instantly arose from his throne and embraced me. My dear Lord, as soon as the king heard your holy name, he was immediately overwhelmed by a great ecstatic love. Catching my hand, he displayed all the symptoms of love. As soon as he heard my petition, he immediately granted me a pension without reductions. Thus the king granted me a full salary as a pension and requested me to engage without anxiety in the service of your lotus feet. Then Maharaj Prataparudra very humbly said, I am most fallen and abominable, and I am unfit to receive an interview with the Lord. One's life is successful if one engages in his service. The king then said, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda. He is very merciful, and I hope that in the future birth he will allow me an interview. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, My dear Ramananda Roy, you are the foremost of all the devotees of Krishna. Therefore, whoever loves you is certainly a very fortunate person. Because the king has shown so much love for you, Lord Krishna will certainly accept him. Lord Krishna told Arjuna, those who are my direct devotees are actually not my devotees, but those who are the devotees of my servant are factually my devotees. My devotees take great care and respect in rendering me service. They offer obeisances to me with all their bodily limbs. They worship my devotees and find all living entities related to me. For me, they engaged the entire energy of their bodies. They engage the power of speech in the glorification of my qualities and form. They also dedicate their minds unto me and try to give up all kinds of material desires. Thus, my devotees are characterized. Lord Shiva told the goddess Durga, My dear Devi, although the Vedas recommend worship of demigods, the worship of Lord Vishnu is topmost. However, above the worship of Lord Vishnu is the rendering of service to the Vaishnavas who are related to Lord Vishnu. Those whose austerity is meager can hardly obtain the service of the pure devotees, progressing on the path back to the kingdom of God. The Vaikunthas, pure devotees engaged 100% in glorifying the Supreme Lord, who is the Lord of the demigods and the controller of all living entities. Paramananda Puri, Brahmananda Bharati, Swarup Damodar, Lord Nityananda, Jagadananda, Mukunda, and others were present before the Lord at that time. Sri Ramananda Roy therefore offered his obeisances to all the Lord's devotees, in particular to the 4 spiritual masters. Thus Ramananda Roy suitably met all the devotees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu next asked Ramananda Roy, Have you already visited the temple of the lotus-eyed Lord Jagannath? Ramananda Roy replied, I shall now go visit the temple. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, What have you done, my dear Roy? Why did you not first see Lord Jagannath and then come here? Why have you come here first? Ramananda Roy said, The legs are like the chariot, and the heart is like the charioteer. Wherever the heart takes the living entity is obliged to go. Purport. In Bhagavad-Gītā 18:61, Lord Krishna explains, The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy. Thus the living entity wanders within this universe, riding upon a chariot, the body, bestowed by material nature. A similar explanation is given in the Katha Upanishad. The individual is the passenger in the car of the material body, and intelligence is the driver. Mind is the driving instrument, and the senses are the horses. The self is thus the enjoyer or sufferer in the association of the mind and senses. In this way, it is understood by great thinkers. Thus, the living entity is the charioteer and the body, the chariot, offered by material nature. The mind is the reins controlling the horses, and the senses are the horses. Thus, the living entity is the false enjoyer of the material world. One who is advanced in Krishna consciousness can control the mind and intelligence. In other words, he can control the reins and the horses, the senses, even though the horses are very powerful. One who can control the senses by his mind and intelligence can very easily approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Vishnu, who is the ultimate goal of life. Tat Vishnu Paramam Param, Sada Pashyanti Suraya. Those who are actually advanced approach Lord Vishnu, their ultimate goal. Such people are never captivated by Lord Vishnu's external energy, the material world. So we stop here for today. So that is our task, to control the emotions where we go through in life. Actually, all the time there is something what we have to conquer. Actually, the life is going up and down, up and down. So we have the capacity also, and we have the opportunity to, in this lifetime, so this life, to give this life to Krishna. We had so many lifetimes, right? So many lifetimes we had already, in many forms, many planetary systems. So to make a strong decision, this lifetime is for Krishna. No doubt, it's not easy. Coming up, going down, coming up, going down. But then to see the emotions we are having inside of us, we can control by more generosity. Generosity means giving of ourselves. When there is a situation in which we find difficult, then we more surrender, more abnegation of that feeling, more generous with our service-inclined life. Service life is the greatest gift ever given to humanity. It's the greatest gift that we know. Who knows in the world, like how you can eventually become very happy. That is by the generosity is the treasure, by giving ourselves, by chanting, by understanding that there's so many things that going on inside of us, feelings, and this we can control by service, by chanting especially. Take the beat back. Take the holy name. The holy name is the same as meeting the Lord. So feel that like I'm gonna meet the Lord. I'm gonna chant the holy name. It's a very sweet. It's a very sweet endeavor, and feeling also, my Lord, I need your grace. I need your help in my life, because without you I'm undone, and I'm very low and fallen, and please come in my life. Because if we just go about in our life and just say, okay, this is my service, and here and now I'm gonna chant, and now I do something else, that connection with the Lord, please come in my life, please be merciful to me. Please give your grace. I need you so much in my life. I'm helpless without you. So we stop here for today. Jai Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta Madhya-līlā, chapter 11, the Beḍā-kīrtana pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahāprabhu. Ki Jai. Śrīla Kṛṣṇadāsa Kavirāja Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnu Pad Śrīla Bhakti Vedanta Swāmī Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Gurudev. Then we read from Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Volume 1. The Brightest Sun, page 100. According to the thread of their karma, the living beings are wandering throughout many species of life in the universe. Among all such wandering souls, one for whom the fortune of spiritual merit, Sukriti, has arisen, by which devotion is facilitated, gains the seed of the creeper of devotion by the grace of Krishna and Guru. That seed is good faith, Shraddha. So, while we are sitting here, it means we got some Sukriti from other lives. We got some very fortunate mercy. And especially when now that we are initiated in the holy name, we got the seed of faith. Faith means to have the company of the Lord. That's a big thing. To have faith means I believe in the Lord. There are many people who don't believe in the Lord. While we know the soul is self-effulgent, the soul is self-evident. We know without the soul, nothing would happen. And other people who don't have that Sukriti, who don't have that faith, say, I cannot see the Lord. He doesn't exist for me. But for the devotees have Sukriti, that's why we're sitting here. It's not a small thing to be in the temple and with our gurus and with the Lord, with Tulasi Devi, with the assembly of like-minded person. It's a small thing. It's not a small thing to say all this glamour in this external so-called attraction in the material world. I will go for another life. I will go for a pious life. I will go for a life in which I have the company of the Lord. Already in this life we can feel it through our faith, to make our faith stronger and stronger. And how to do that? That is by always the choice of what is good and what is less good. Because in that way we eradicate the lower planes for higher planes. We are the teacher in ourselves, in our life also. Like for something what is of a lower nature, then we have a choice. What do I choose? Do I choose to go to that lower plane, or do I elevate myself to make a better choice? And that in that way, faith grows more and more. Faith. That ultimately we want to see everywhere Krishna. Ultimately, we want to experience the Lord's energy and His love everywhere by our giving nature. It's not a light thing. We must know that this seed of Krishna consciousness is the most valuable thing in the whole of creation. Everything, good or bad, belongs to Krishna, and I'm His unconditional servitor. Our general thought must be like this, and the details will develop gradually. We need not apprehend any injustice. He is absolute good, So His mercy is absolute. His love is absolute. He is the loving center. We must make our heart broad, wide, to accept such a seed. So all the impediments of that coming, that we cannot see everything as good, that we cannot open our heart broad and high and that we can accept everything. If we feel some negativity in our heart, it is from, say, past negative activities. So here, in this way, we get an opportunity to embrace these unloving feelings by saying, I go through this. I have the opportunity to go through these uneasy feelings and give more of myself, give more of surrender, have more prayer in my life for the Guru and the Lord to help me, because I'm helpless without them. Love is not afraid of any sacrifice, so it can accommodate even the enemy, and he is thereby conquered. Such conquering is complete and perfect. How beautiful that is. I read it again. Love can accommodate even the enemy. Love is not... What do you say?
Love is not afraid of sacrifice.
And that's the second. Love is not afraid of any sacrifice. It means what I'm thinking in myself, that are the horses who going wild. That is from past activities who were negative. So in that moment that we think something negative, we get an opportunity to send out more love. There is no enemy, there is nobody negative in our surrounding. To be very conscious and do that sacrifice, sending more love, be more generous in our dealings with something what we find difficult. Such conquering is complete and perfect. Our conquest is not perfect, but love's conquest is perfect. So we must be prepared to pay the value of this greatest achievement. Die to live. What can I give? Die to live means also service. Sometimes they say service is the same as death. It means it's not for yourself. Give up our selfish tendencies, our desires. So serve in service, in chanting, in worshipping, in surrendering. In that way, we clean ourselves from the inside of all these negative tendencies, the horses who go wild. And the intelligence say, yeah, you do this. Not our mind, not our senses. They have another part to play. But the intelligence says, yes, I see this is the most perfect way to live our life, most perfect way to use our time. Everything belongs to Him, and I also belong to Him. I must admit that I'm His. This is much necessary. This is the central knowledge, and it is not unreasonable. I am not out of central control, and His all-controlling potency is not power, but love. This is the most liberal proposal, good news, and fortune. Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose divine appearance day we were celebrating, he calls the Lord Krishna all love. He says the Lord, the all love. Like, if we can really go deeply into all that how much have we been cared for? How much do we really have? We have clothes, we have a wonderful temple, we have prasadam, we have something wonderful to do. There's much more, say, grace in our life than we normally think of. There is so much, we have all, our body is still working good. All these things, they are benefits. Not everybody has that. We're not thinking about it. And the wording, all love, means in all aspects of life, we are able to understand that all love aspect of the Lord. If we open up to that, if we calm the mind, if we calm the whole mental system actually, then we can see the Lord is so good to me. He's my best friend. He has given me so much in the past, now, and to realize that will bring us up. That will bring us up to make better choices even, just to show him that we have so much appreciation, because it's a living thing, it's a dynamic thing. Every moment in our life, it is a living thing. If we can recognize that the Lord is in ourselves, He's more with ourselves than we can understand. He's more with us than we ourselves are. That is Krishna, that is the unlimited infinite. That means God, that means the Lord, the all love. So we can try to meditate on that, on the word all love, that we can see every moment, every aspect, even in this material life, we can experience an all love experience of the Lord present in our life here, in the spiritual world, of course, everywhere, in all situations. There's nothing without Krishna. Okay, I finished this page. Suspicion and hesitation are the worst enemies. We may be near to the truth, but because of our previous karma, our suspecting nature deceives us. In Sri Gita, it is mentioned, samsayatma vinashyati. The suspicious are doomed. Time is valuable, but it is passing in mere hesitation. If a general is sent to the battlefield and he harbors a suspicious mentality, what can he attain? Nothing. He will put all his soldiers into the jaw of the enemy general. But he should have a definite plan and engage with proper intensity to fight with Maya, and Maya is willing. So we stop here. To fight with Maya, all the negativity, all the things that are not all love, all the things that are not who are selfish and full of, say, hesitation or suspicion. We take them out of our system. We meditate on the word all love, given by our great-grandfather, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Okay? We end here. Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Śrīdhar Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Prabhu.
Jai Sachidini. ดี ๆ की จาย
Jai.
จาย Om Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Prabhu. Jai Sachidini. की จาย Jai.
จาย Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadaya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopala Vindaram Simadhusudana.
Gopala Vindaram Simadhusudana. Śrīdhar Gopinath Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunatha. Hey Jai Gosai Kori Charana Banda.
Jai
Jai.
Chapter ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki
Jai.
Jai.
Hari Bol.